Thank you, everyone. I'm Kate Oram, and as Nick said, I went through the creative labs and I survived, so there's hope for us all. So I'd just like to tell you really how harnessing creativity helped me. The first thing, I guess, going through the creative labs was identifying a need or a problem that I could address, and so I took that opportunity and very quickly started appreciating the exciting potential of 3D printing. In the creative labs we were shown some videos about 3D printing, and we sort of, as creative people, saw it as a possible problem, and maybe the dilemma of losing connectedness to materials. So I worked on that idea, but I felt that it was a great opportunity to use computer-aided design as a tool for enhancing my hands-on practice. So the brainstorming sessions really, I'm sure you've all done them with the mind maps, and we teamed up and came up with our ideas together, but it ended up being the one that I wanted to pursue on my own. So I wanted to apply it to my practice, which is, I specialise in sand casting, and this is in the Leitrim Sculpture Centre. And I teach a couple of modules there in sand casting. And the main problem I find with my teaching there is that you need a pattern, a master pattern to create your moulds. So I thought perhaps we could use this as a way for people to create a 3D pattern. So I think that the 3D printing allows 2D artists to access 3D fields, and you're able to develop your design without having to constantly make prototypes and then go back to the drawing board and make it again. You can do the designing on the computer and make a rapid prototype, which is really how 3D printing started. It's been around a long time, but it's for prototyping really. And so you can make lots of samples before you make your master pattern. I have some samples here, but I'm going to hand them around afterwards because I know I don't listen anymore when I'm looking at something. So really, here's some of my samples, and there's the pieces being printed. So I have a video to show you really the process from printing through to the foundry to the finished piece. So the next thing was those samples were made for the showcase, which is what you're preparing for now. So I put my exhibition together with the video, the boards of the photographs of the process and the samples. And I had a 3D printer at the exhibition as well, which was very exciting for all the visitors, because people just can't help but watch these things being made in front of their eyes. So that went well, and it toured them to Dublin and Letterkenny as well. Then we had a slightly long wait to find out if we were going forward to the next stage or not, but luckily I did. The next stage was to collaborate with two colleges, the Northwest College in Oram, which you're familiar with, and the Ideas Centre there, and also Carlow IT. Both of those have very good 3D printing facilities, and they both have different equipment actually. So I worked closely with tutors, and they set projects for their students. That's my first group of students. The students then they actually designed a group sculpture, an installation. So they all worked on various designs of the same theme, printed their patterns, and they all came down to the Sculpture Centre for a day. And there were quite a lot of them. I think it was 11, I think, in total. We normally have 6 in a class, so it was really full on, but really exciting. And they all went away with their cast pieces and to come back to their colleges to finish off and use for their end of year display. They were marked on it. So I think I'll just go straight into I'll show you their video. So that was, it was very interesting working with the students, because I think really in the future all graduates will have done some modules of 3D modelling on computers, and these kids really hadn't used their hands all that much, and they were very excited to come to the foundry, get their hands very dirty and have the hands-on experience. A bit less health and safety in the foundry than there was in college, with all their masks and twice as many students as we should have had, but it was really very stimulating for them and very successful project. And it benefited us all because it transformed students' prototypes into enduring artifacts, and it brought new participants to the Sculpture Centre, and accomplished my goal of demonstrating the value of 3D printing as a tool for enhancing the foundry process. To take it to the next stage would be, there's stuff printing, possibly to run some more courses in the Sculpture Centre, teaching people how to use the 3D modelling. So I'd like to team up with somebody, because I've spent a few enough hours to know that it's not going to be me that's teaching it. I want to be working with my hands and not sitting at the computer, so I can guide them through the process, but either it'll be graduates who already have experience of 3D modelling, or they'll need a dedicated tutor. I think it'll take me maybe 4 years to learn what they know. And also, possibly, I think I had another slide, it's maybe gone. The idea of possibly having a fab lab or the equivalent in the Sculpture Centre, so bringing a whole new dimension to the Sculpture Centre, new courses and new manufacturing facilities for other people, so it could enhance businesses as well as artists. If we have a rapid prototyping centre in the Sculpture Centre, that's one possible way forward. And then the online courses where people do a whole package where they do the designing, and they don't come to the foundry until they've gone back and forth with me or a partner to decide if the pattern is ready to print, and when the pattern's ready to print, then they come to the foundry and cast it. So they don't end up disappointed that their piece didn't work, because they'll have perfect pattern for the foundry. So that's more or less where I'm at the moment. If you have any brilliant ideas for me, I'm all ears.
Well done, well done.